I was 21 when this happened. It was the summer before my final year of college, and I'd driven home for the weekend to see my parents. My mom asked me to drop off a package at my aunt's house, a small town about an hour away. I didn't think twice. I had music, snacks, and my car, a second-hand Honda that never let me down. I left around 4 p.m. The weather was great, the roads were empty, but my aunt's place was one of those old houses tucked deep in the countryside, where the roads eventually turn to dirt and cell phone signal disappears. It was almost sunset by the time I got there. We had dinner, laughed, caught up. I wasn't planning to stay over, so I left around 9:30 p.m. It was dark by then, very dark. Her house was surrounded by woods. No streetlights, no neighbors close by, just the sounds of insects and trees swaying in the wind. I got into my car, locked the doors out of habit and turned the key. Nothing. The engine clicked, stuttered, and died. I froze. I tried again and again. Just more clicking. No ignition. I took a deep breath. Maybe it was the battery, or the starter. I opened the hood, used my phone flashlight, but honestly, I had no idea what I was looking at. I was alone, in the middle of nowhere. No signal, and my car had just died. I went back inside, told my aunt. She offered to let me stay, but I didn't want to bother her more. She lent me a power bank and said I could try calling a mechanic once I got some bars. There was one spot, she said, about a 5-minute walk down the road where you sometimes got signal. So I grabbed my phone and flashlight and started walking. It was pitch black outside, the kind of dark where your eyes don't adjust. The only light came from my small flashlight beam, bouncing off trees and gravel, and then I heard it. Footsteps, crunching leaves, behind me. I stopped walking. The footsteps stopped too. I turned around. Nothing. I figured maybe it was an animal, kept walking. A minute later, footsteps again. Closer this time. Not fast, but deliberate. I spun around again. Still nothing. Now my heart was pounding. I turned the flashlight off for a moment, trying to listen better, but all I heard was the wind and my own breathing. Then something moved, to my left, about 10 feet into the woods. I turned the light in that direction, saw nothing, but I felt something, like I was being watched. I whispered, "Hello," like an idiot. No response. So I kept walking, faster now. I finally found the spot where I got one bar of signal, called the mechanic. Somehow the call went through. He said he'd try to reach within an hour. I turned to head back to the house, and that's when I saw it. A figure, standing about 30 feet down the road, in the middle of the path I had just walked. I couldn't see the face, just the silhouette. Tall, thin, not moving, just standing, watching me. I stood frozen, didn't know if I should yell or run. Then the figure took a step forward. Just one step. I turned and ran, full sprint, back toward the house. Branches hitting my arms, rocks sliding under my feet. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I got to the house, slammed the door shut, and locked it. My aunt was still awake. I told her someone was out there. She grabbed her husband's old hunting rifle and stood by the window. We waited. Nothing happened. No knock, no voice, no figure. Eventually, I fell asleep on the couch. At around 3:45 a.m., I heard a knock at the front door. Just one knock. I sat up, heart pounding. My aunt was already awake. She walked to the door and looked through the peephole. Nobody there. But when she opened it slowly, there was something on the porch. A note, folded, taped to the door. It said in messy handwriting, "Nice car. Shame it won't start." We called the police the next morning. They found footprints in the woods, but nothing more. No fingerprints on the note. The mechanic came at 7 a.m., looked at the car, said there was nothing wrong with it. Battery was fine. Starter was fine. He turned the key, and it started instantly. To this day, I don't know who that was, or what they did to my car, or how they knew where I'd be. But I don't drive alone at night anymore. And I always make sure my doors are locked, especially when the car won't start. Every night at 2 a.m., someone knocked 3 times and never said a word. I live in a small studio apartment on the second floor of an old building. Nothing fancy. The kind of place where you can hear footsteps above you even when nobody lives up there. It was a Thursday night. I remember because I just finished binge watching a crime documentary and was too paranoid to sleep. Around 1:40 a.m., I finally turned off the TV and crawled into bed. Not even 15 minutes later, I heard a knock. Not on my apartment door, but on the main building entrance downstairs. 3 slow knocks, then silence. I stayed in bed, frozen. Maybe someone forgot their keys, maybe a delivery guy. I didn't move. A few minutes passed. Then again, knock, knock, knock. Still downstairs. Louder this time. But still, just 3. Then nothing. I didn't hear footsteps. Didn't hear a door open. Just silence. The next night, Friday, I stayed up late again. Around 2:12 a.m., it happened again. Same sound, same rhythm. 3 knocks, then silence. This time I got up. I peeked through the blinds. The motion light above the entrance was on, gently flickering, like it had just been triggered. But there was no one there. The street outside was empty. No cars, no movement, just stillness. On Saturday night, I got paranoid. I set up my phone to record video through the window, facing the front entrance. Then I went to bed, left the lights off, and waited. At 1:54 a.m., right on time, it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. I jumped up and checked the video. The knocks were clearly heard on the audio, but no one ever appeared on camera. When the next morning, I asked my downstairs neighbor if she had heard anything. She said no. I asked around the building casually. Nobody seemed to know what I was talking about. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark by my window, coffee in hand, waiting. At 2:06 a.m., I finally saw him, a man, tall, dressed in black, hood up, hands by his side. He stepped into the glow of the motion light and just stood there. No knocking, no movement. He tilted his head up, staring at the building, like he knew I was watching. Then, without warning, he turned and walked out of view. No rush, just gone. Since then, everything's changed. The knocking doesn't come from downstairs anymore. It comes directly to my door, same time every night. 2 a.m., 3 knocks, no voice, no footsteps, no shuffling away, just silence after. I used to check the peephole. Not anymore, because the last time I did, he was already staring at me through it, grinning. They are still out there, waiting. What would you do if someone knocked on your door at 2 a.m. and never left? The baby monitor was in my daughter's room, but the breathing I heard wasn't hers. My wife and I had our first baby girl last year. We live in a quiet neighborhood in Minnesota, 3 bedrooms, fenced yard, nothing fancy, just enough space to raise a family. Ella, our daughter, was barely 9 months old when we moved her into her own room. We set up a baby monitor with audio and night vision, mostly for peace of mind. I didn't expect it to ever catch anything until that night. It was a Sunday. We'd put Ella to bed around 8:30 p.m. She was out cold, not even a single fuss. My wife went to bed early. I stayed up watching TV, half asleep on the couch. At around 2:12 a.m., I heard something from the monitor. It was faint at first. I thought it was just static, but then it shifted. Breathing, loud, slow, heavy. Not baby breathing, adult breathing. I sat up straight. The monitor's camera was facing Ella's crib. She was still asleep, tiny, curled up, peaceful. But the sound continued. Deep inhales, shaky exhales, coming from somewhere inside the room. I froze. Then I hit the talk button on the monitor. "All good, baby," I said, trying to sound casual. The breathing stopped for about 3 seconds. Then the monitor cut to static. No video, no sound, just snow. I ran to Ella's room. I didn't care if it was nothing. I didn't care if I looked insane. I just needed to know she was safe. When I opened the door, the room was empty. Ella was still in her crib, fast asleep, but the closet door was open. We never leave that door open. I checked inside. Nothing. No sign of disturbance. No footprints. No moved toys. No one under the crib. Still, something didn't feel right. I turned off the monitor and moved Ella back into our bedroom for the night. The next day, I checked the whole house again. Windows locked, doors secured, nothing out of place. I reset the baby monitor, new password, firmware update, factory settings. By Tuesday, we moved Ella back to her room. Things were quiet again, until Friday night. It was 3:07 a.m. The monitor lit up with motion, no sound, just video. It was shaky like the camera had been moved. I saw the crib. I saw Ella. And then, in the corner of the frame, I saw something else. A hand, not moving, just resting on the crib rail, like someone was standing there, watching. The second I reached for the door, the screen cut to black. No static, no error, just off. I sprinted to her room, but this time, the crib was empty. Ella was gone. The window was open, and the closet door slammed shut. I yanked it open so hard the handle cracked. No one inside. I ran through the house screaming for my wife. We checked every door, every room, the garage, the basement. Nothing. We found Ella 15 minutes later. She was outside on the front porch, asleep, no scratches, no dirt, still wrapped in her blanket. The porch door was locked from the inside. There was no sign of break-in, no alarms triggered. Police found nothing. That was 4 months ago. We don't use the monitor anymore. We installed security cameras, changed locks, got a dog, and every night we keep Ella with us, even if she's sound asleep, because sometimes, when the house is quiet, I still hear that breathing, not through the monitor, not in the hallway, but right outside our bedroom door. Whoever it was is still out there, waiting. If you're still listening, you've survived another true horror from the dark side of everyday life. If this story unsettled you, like the videos, subscribe, please, for more terrifying true stories. And leave a comment below. What would you do if the baby monitor picked up breathing that wasn't your child's? I'm Joker, and I'll see you in the next story.